Okay, welcome to lesson 7. We're going to use those line plots that we talked about in measurement and data. I think that was unit 5. A line plot is a graph that shows data or information by using a number line. And this line plot right here tells me about the story about Matteo, who wants to bake raisin bread, and he has several recipes that each make 1 loaf of bread. The line plot shows the numbers of cups of sugar in the recipes. How many recipes for raisin bread does Matteo have just by looking at this line plot? Well, each one of those dots represents a recipe. So I'm going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 recipes for raisin bread. How many of the recipes have more than half a cup? More than half a cup. Well, I don't want half a cup because I want the more. So I count only these dots right here because this is half and these would be more than half. So there are 7 recipes with more than half. What is the least amount of sugar in any recipe? So what is the smallest amount? Would be this one over here, right? 1/4 cup is the smallest amount. How much less sugar is in a recipe with the least sugar than in a recipe with the most sugar? So I have to take how much is the most sugar, that's 3/4, and I have to take how much less sugar is in a recipe with the least. So I have to take away the smallest amount of sugar, and I get, or most of you are already screaming at the screen, it's less by 2/4 of a cup or a half a cup. So it's smaller from here to here. It's smaller by a half cup. It's less sugar by a half cup. Matteo wants to try all the recipes with exactly 5/8 cup of sugar. How much sugar does he need? So there are 3 recipes with 5/8. So it's 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 plus 5/8 equals 15/8. I can't leave that. That doesn't tell me how many cups I need. So I need to make this into a mixed number. 8 goes into 15. 1 and 7/8 cups. 7/8 is almost what? 2 cups. But he needs 1 and 7/8 cups of sugar to try all of these recipes right here. How much sugar would you expect any recipe for raisin bread to need? Explain your thinking. Well, looking at this line plot, I'm going to kind of give you my thinking. Looking at this line plot here, I'm noticing that there's a lot of recipes with 3/4 a cup. There's a lot of recipes with half a cup. There's not a lot of recipes with 1/4 cup. And there's about 5/8. So if I were to say, I think it's going to be between, how much sugar would you expect any recipe for raisin bread to need? I would expect between 1/2 and 3/4 cups of sugar. And I think this because most of the recipes called for about that much. Most recipes called for 1/2 or 3/4 cups of sugar. So that's how you would use a line plot to answer those questions. Here's another line plot, and I think you're actually going to create this. Mai cut up strips of color paper to make a collage. The lengths of the unused pieces are shown on the table. Where's the table? It's not the one that you're sitting at right now. It's this one right here. So you have to make a line plot to display the data. So there are 4 paper lengths in inches. There are 4 half-inch pieces. There are 2 5/8 pieces. There are 2 3/4 pieces. There are 1, 2, 3 7/8 pieces. And there are 1, 2, 1 1/4 pieces. Mai placed the shortest pieces in a row end to end. How long was the row? The shortest pieces are what? Half-inch pieces, right? So if you did 1/2 inch plus another 1/2 inch plus another 1/2 inch plus another 1/2 inch, well, this is 1 inch and this is 2 inch. So how long was the row? 2 inches. Did you hear that thinking process that I did? I used the information in the line plot and I answered the question. A group of students measured the widths of their hands. The measurements are shown in the table. Here's our table. Make a line plot to display the data. So there was 1 student with 2 1/4. There were 2 students with 2 3/8. There were 2 students with 2 1/2. There were 4 students with 2 5/8. 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 2 students with 2 3/4. And there was 1 student with 2 7/8. What is the difference between the width of the widest hand and the most common hand width? Well, I know the widest is going to be the biggest, so that's 2 7/8. The most common was 2 5/8. So if I'm subtracting, I have a common denominator, so 7 take away 5 is 2/8. 2 take away 2 is 0. So the difference is 2/8 of an inch. Write a problem you can solve by using this line plot. So I'd like you to try this and then bring it in and see if we can't try to solve it for you. And really, that's the long and the short of this lesson, is just knowing how to read a line plot and do something with the information. So bring in your word problem tomorrow. See if you can stump me or stump somebody in your math group by using this hand width line plot. And I will see you tomorrow.